2 items and get out of here. Kind of to add on to what Bill said, we had over 150 code enforcement cases throughout this time frame. Out of that 150, 21 of them went to court, and a synopsis that we had was it's roughly just a little less than $400,000. A good bulk of that was in tree fund, and one thing that I'm proud of our court system as we're doing when we're startup, we're not here to find people, take them to jail or anything like that. We want to make sure that everything is properly redone. We had some situations in between starting up and Gwinnett County not reviewing any more plans where it was like gangbusters out here. People were dropping trees, things were getting mitigated immediately because of what we have done in code enforcement and then what we've done through our municipal court. So we're really happy with the work that's being done, because a lot of people talk about what happens when you have law enforcement and your own court system about, you're just out here to find us. We're not doing that. Our citizens are happy with that. We just want to make sure that everything gets done properly or corrected. And so thankful to, Bill and our judges for making sure that that's the Mulberry vision for our court system. And so with that kind of wraps up where we are. I mean, it's been at times, you can ask staff, right? I have a strategy room, right? And I'll bring them in there, or I'll just say, hey guys, we're doing powwow day, and then everybody's kind of in the same room. I'm very thankful for the team that we're building here to deliver an innovative city for the citizens out here in Mulberry. And thank you all for giving us all this opportunity.
Yeah, well, and then I'll be quiet, everybody's ready to go home. We're Super Bowl Sunday weekend, right? And we all know you cannot have a strong football team without a quarterback that is running 100 different directions, that's managing left, right, and center at any given moment, that's anticipating the defense before it's coming at you. That is this guy right here. And this city, I'm telling you right now, we would not be in the position that we are today without Jamie Palmer. So will you join me in thanking Jamie Palmer for that? All right.
Let's get it done. We got 2 more items. We're going to move on. We're going to move out of here.
All right. Action item M's. A, CPL's contract renewal.
So one of the things that happened, we got to do contract renewals. You're going to see all these come up. The beautiful thing about our city is that we only have, where are we at, 7 now? 7, we'll be capped at 10, right? We'll have 9 employees by the end of this month, and that are actual city employees. Everybody else out of a staff that will be 52 or so, the rest of them are consultants. And so the great thing about that is that allows for a little bit of flexibility, that allows a little bit of nuances. We can kind of balance out some things financially, because if we need a little bit more manpower on one end, then our private sector partners can kind of help us with that. So the first one that y'all will see is the big bulk of the things, and that is with CPL. CPL handles all of our building inspections, site inspections, as y'all already saw, and we want to do a new contract, restructuring a little bit from where we were, and shuffle the deck a little bit. Code enforcement will now come in-house with our marshals, as we've been talking about and what we've been prepping for. We will move some people who were with code enforcement part-time under the CPL contract to site inspections to kind of help with the erosion control stuff. And then we will add an additional person to kind of help with the front desk with emails, so we can get a fast rate for emails, responses, call responses, and a little bit more front-end questions when people come in and need to have some questions about planning or business license. So my request now is that you all approve and for the mayor to sign a renewal with CPL for this contract.
All right, any questions for the city manager about this contract?
I think we got to make some corrections, right? On it. So is it a renewal or is this a new contract? Like, do we have the ability?
So the city, the way that we have it is it's all a new contract, right?
Okay.
So
So we're renewing their scope of services. With
renewing their scope of services, brand new contract.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. May I make a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Sure. So first off, hold on, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
One
Sorry,
change.
Councilman. Is there any other questions first before we get a motion on the table?
I have one change. There is a typo.
Yeah, that's
I think
the
you
motion
addressed
we're
that.
gonna make, right?
Yeah.
So do we wanna, the motion's gonna require us to make, there's also a piece of language I'd like to add, if okay, general language.
We can, yeah, we can talk.
Can
Yeah,
I describe the language I was gonna add? or
Do
not?
you wanna, I mean, it's your right to make a motion. If you wanna go ahead and make a motion, if you wanna talk
Well, we
about the
gotta-
language,
so-
whatever you wanna do.
Yeah, so we certainly have to make a change in language, right? We gotta correct the typos. This contract has to be edited anyway. And so that's one element. So on Exhibit B fee schedule, there is a section where it, written says 75, and then it says 50% numerically. So we just need to change the written portion of that to read 55%,
That's
excuse me,
correct.
50%. So that's one change. The other change potentially that we talked to council about, and this is again, I think it's a minor change, it really is. And I don't think it should certainly cause any alarm on the CPL front. In Exhibit A, Scope of Services, Section 1, last bullet, the contractor shall, the last bullet, I was gonna add a sentence, and the sentence would simply say, CPL leadership, in conjunction with city manager, will utilize communication best practices to provide insight to mayor and council regarding efficacy of CPL services. So basically the idea being that CPL in conjunction with city manager will just use best practices to make sure that we understand the efficacy overall of the services. And how you best pursue that is your prerogative along with CPL from a best practices standpoint. I think it keeps it macro oriented enough that it shouldn't cause alarm with CPL.
Can you say that one more time?
CPL leadership in conjunction with city manager will utilize communication best practices to provide insight to mayor and council regarding efficacy of CPL services.
I think the question that staff would have is, what do you mean by best practices for communication?
Well, that's why I said it's general enough. I think if we start getting into, we don't have, obviously there's a number of, you guys have cited 100 KPIs up here, right? And you know what those are, CPL knows what those are. So I think we can even just say best practices. Because I mean, you guys know, and it's gonna change. We're gonna change as a city into the future. I think that makes that last bullet, at least in my opinion, I think it makes it carries a bit more weight for everybody because it allows you, it's basically indicating CPL in conjunction with you, not the other way around, right? Because it's I think they're leading the charge on the services that they're delivering to the city, and I
That is
think
not correct.
that is not correct, okay.
So
So,
we lead the charge. My staff leads the charge from
Okay.
a city standpoint. So we have what we call the city manager's office, which again consists of myself,
so do
Kelly, Bill.
you not like the language that is being added? Is that you would prefer that that's not in there?
I'm at the will of the council. So
Okay.
it's what for the council to decide. That's why we want to make sure that we.
So let
define it.
me just address this with the rest of the council. If you guys read the last bullet on there, right? One of the just overall observations I have, CPL is doing a great job. There's my experience with contracts of this size are generally, they can be encumbered with lots of KPIs, a bunch of them. And you can go get wrapped around the axle with the KPIs. We have intentionally recognized that we want to allow this thing to be macro enough to ensure that we can deliver the services that we're going to require from a city perspective into the future. That's fine, I agree with that, I understand the rationale. That last bullet, I think, in the suggested language that I'm advocating for, I think will allow that is a vehicle that ensures that CPL understands that we have to, as city council, mayor, we have to have some mechanics that allow us to understand if the efficacy of the services that we have contracted are being delivered in a way that is good for the city. So that's all I'm suggesting.
Councilman, I think my only concern with that is, so CPL theoretically reports to Jamie, right? And then
Yeah.
Jamie addresses us. And so I think what my proposal to you would be is instead of, I'm not sure it would be proper to put requirements on CPL to bring information to us. I think that is, if Jamie wants that information, he can
Okay.
request that.
That's fair.
I think what would make more
Yeah.
sense would be if we want to come up with a separate policy outside of maybe the four corners of this agreement, that Jamie reports certain information to us on whatever schedule
That's
you
better.
deem appropriate, That probably is a more appropriate chain of command.
Okay, understood.
All right, does that suffice, or does that
100%,
satisfy your
100%.
concern?
I think I just, and you and I have had this conversation before,
Absolutely.
so hopefully I'm not. And the council hopefully understands the direction I'm going in, which is just making sure that you guys are doing a great job. We've got KPIs. We just want to make sure that that carries on, right? That we have a vehicle to make sure that we can do that. But I think, as you suggest, Mr. Mayor, we can do that outside of this, so.
Maybe we build something,
And we're, yeah,
a policy type where the reporting is to us quarterly, some cadence.
some other mechanism, and
Right.
as we've all discussed, we're kind of at times building the plane
Right,
as we're flying it, so,
Right.
okay.
I think the responsibility of the communication falls on myself.
right.
Fair enough.
So I think
Fair
the
enough.
structure would be like whatever you all decide to do, that you wanna communicate from any department would just be a directive from you all to myself, and then I produce that information to you.
And I think we can make something concrete, we can put that as an agenda item at one of the next meetings, we can come up, we can discuss that, what
We
we
can
feel
bridge
is-
into that,
Yeah.
yeah, we've already talked about that, so that's perfect, okay,
Okay.
fair enough. So I think that, there would be only that item then that we discussed, which is just a edit to the language, a typo.
Okay.
And I'm happy to make that motion.
Sure, go ahead, if you wanna make the motion to amend, that would be great.
Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, I'd make the motion to amend the service agreement with the city of Mulberry CPL, specifically Exhibit B, fee schedule. In the base service fee, there is a starred item that we need to change the language in the first sentence, where it reads written 70-5%, needs to be amended to read 50% written.
Okay, we have a motion to amend on the table, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote, all in favor? All opposed? All right, the amendment here carries. All right, and then I will entertain a motion to adopt the contract as amended and permit the mayor to sign.
I'll make a motion to adopt the CPO and Mulberry contract as amended and allow the mayor to sign the contract.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Sullivan, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote, all in favor, all opposed, all right, by a vote of 5, the agreement between the city of Mulberry and CPL as amended is hereby adopted. All right, moving on, that brings us to action item MB, the IGA with county regarding radios.
This is IGA, this is one of the first IGAs that we actually have with the county. This one is to allow for us to have radio communication using the towers, for, law enforcement activities. That way that we can assist Gwinnett PD in any situation that may come up within our area using our post-certified marshal's office.
Any questions for the city manager regarding this proposed IGA? And just clarify, this is what we were referencing before, right? This would give us the capability to, then if we decide to move forward by XP, this gives us everything we need, right?
That's it.
Okay, all right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, then I'll make a motion to adopt the intergovernmental agreement as presented between the city of Mulberry and Gwinnett County regarding 800 megahertz radios. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, who was that on the end? Thank you. The Councilman Ingram with the second. Do I have any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 5, the intergovernmental agreement.
Thanks, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for coming. I know it's a long one. We got some brave souls out there tonight. If our next meeting will be February the 19th?
Yes.
February the 19th will be the next meeting. All right, at this time, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Sullivan. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? We're hereby adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Be safe driving home. Thank you very much.
When James started looking at the watch, I tried to stop.